Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I wanted to film a video about my favorite reads of the year so far. I'm gonna go over my 5 stars, my 5.5, my 5 stars, my 4.5 stars, and my 4-star books. I'm really excited, and let's get into it. So the first 5-star book of the year for me was Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This book is about Sybil. She is a diviner, and in this world, diviners see people's futures. They have to do this very painful ceremony, basically, where they drown to see the future. She has been doing this for 9 years, and she's about to get out of the service of the church and about to move on from this job when she does a divination for the king, and his future is weird enough that it makes her question what she's doing, basically. And we follow the aftermath of this dream that she has for the king. This book took me by surprise. I have read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and I didn't necessarily fall in love with it, so I thought I was going to like this, but I kept putting it off just because I wasn't sure it was going to be my jam. However, I loved this book so much. I thought it was so funny. The writing is so witty and just good. I mean, like, I laughed out loud so many times during this book, and I feel like our main characters are very likable. Sybil is a really strong main character. She doesn't really need other people's help. Like, she kind of just figures things out on her own, and I really enjoyed that. We also have kind of an animal companion in this one that I really loved, and overall I think this is a great story, especially if you enjoy traveling fantasies, which is like something I really enjoy. There is like a little bit of a travel aspect to this book, and I fell in love with everything about it. I think it is definitely worth 5 stars. The next 5-star book that I read was Project Hail Mary. I also was putting this book off. I know that everybody really loved it. I loved The Martian when I read it, and I had a very high expectations for this one, but I also read Artemis and DNF'd that, so I also had like mixed high expectations. Like, I really thought I was gonna love it, but I also was holding back a little bit because I was afraid it wasn't going to live up to the hype, but it definitely did. This one follows a teacher who gets tasked with very important biology things that he needs to figure out, and basically the fate of the world is kind of in his hands. And yeah, we follow this like natural disaster that is happening and the aftermath of that, and like how he is kind of gonna work towards fixing the problem at hand. I'm trying to be as vague as possible because I do feel like going into this one blind is the way to go. I know a lot of people have already read it. The movie's been out. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm very excited. It just came out on streaming, so I'm definitely going to be watching it soon. And yeah, I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was great. I think the writing in this one's really good. Again, I think it's got that humor aspect to it that I really enjoy, and it also has really serious moments, and this one also has kind of a companion aspect to it that I adore and I loved. So yeah, I really liked it. Okay. The next 5-star that I gave was to One Piece Volume 1. This one just took me by surprise. I think I said before, I haven't really read manga before. I've tried and haven't been able to get into it, but I read this one and loved it. I also have watched the live action, so it was easy for me to fall into because I kind of already knew the story a little bit, and I think that helped a lot. So I really enjoyed that. I've been giving them all 5 stars. I haven't given any of the volumes less than 5 stars right now, so I'm on volume 8 now, so that's great. If you don't know, One Piece follows our main character Luffy, who is a pirate. He wants to be the king of the pirates, and so he sets out on a journey to find a crew, and he starts searching for this one piece that will give him the ability to be the king of the pirates. The One Piece is like a treasure from a different pirate that was the king of the pirates that died. So he got captured and died, so Luffy is on the hunt for it. I'm really enjoying this series, and I cannot wait to continue. The next book I gave 5 stars was Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I talked about this in my April wrap-up. I really enjoyed this story. This one follows Gabriel de Leon, who gets captured in the beginning of the story and is telling us the story of his life, not by choice, by force, to a vampire of this world that is chronicling his life story. And Gabriel is important because it says on the back of the book, he is half human, half monster. He's half man, half monster, and he works for this holy organization called the Silver Saints, who hunt down and kill the vampires of this world, because the vampires of this world are bad. They're evil, and they kill people. So the Silver Saints are like actively trying to kill them, to stop them from killing humans and creating more. And then in this book, he's detailing specifically how he was looking for something called the Holy Grail. And that's like the story that the vampire wants from Gabriel. Gabriel's reluctant to give the vampire what he wants. So we have a pretty big chunky book chronicling his life pretty much from the moment he meets his first vampire to where he is now, which he's older. This book really took me by surprise. I knew I was going to like it, but by the 150 page mark, I was so hooked I couldn't put it down. Like, I was so in it. I felt every emotion, and I just feel like J. Kristoff's writing was so rich and detailed and just so good. I feel like Gabriel is a really great main character. He's witty and funny, but he's also like super serious and dedicated to his cause. And it was just very emotional. It was just a very emotional ride. And I feel like a lot goes into this story. There's a lot of heartache and a lot of terrible moments, but there's also like moments of good and high tension moments. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Okay, the next book that I gave 5 stars is my most recent 5-star, and that is Starside by Alex Astor. This one, talk about taking me by surprise, really caught me off guard. I thought I would enjoy this story when I picked it up. I did not think I was gonna love it as much as I ended up loving it. I couldn't put it down. I had to read this over a couple of days because of traveling and things like that, and I was sad when I wasn't reading it. Like, my head was in it. So I loved this book. I will say, looking at reviews, I'm not disagreeing that this book isn't very traditional romantasy. I do feel like it's not innovative in any way. I think I said this in my book haul for the book, but I know that Alex Astor herself put in the foreword of this copy that she put everything she loves in books in this book, and it definitely feels like that. Like, you definitely can see a lot of different tropes and a lot of different things being mixed in this story, but for whatever reason it really worked for me. I think our main character is really strong, and I think the story itself was really interesting, and how like where it ended was very captivating. Like, I really want to read the next one. I'm very into it, and I really liked it. I liked the writing, and I think that it was a very easy read, while also having a lot of emotional moments and a lot of stressful moments, a lot of anxious moments. Like, there was just a lot in this book. So I ended up giving it 5 stars, and very excited for the next one. I almost forgot to tell you what this is about. This is about our main character, Aries, and she is living in a world where there are like 2 sides of, I don't even want to say the world, the area that she lives in. There's the star side, which has like all of the magic and is very rich with things people need to live. And then you have the storm side, which is where she lives, and it's very bleak. Not a lot of food, not a lot of water, no magic. And every 50 years, the people of the storm side are allowed to try to compete in a competition that allows them to go to star side to get magic. They get a magic cup from the god. And the king of storm side has made this into like a deadly competition. He only allows 50 people to go, and he allows 200 people, I believe it was 200 people, to join, but then they have to participate in a culling, which is like basically a bunch of tasks that they have to live through. And our main character lives through those, and she makes it over to Starside, and it is about her trying to get to the gods to get her revenge for something that happened in her past. Yeah, this book has a lot of ups and downs, lots of crazy things happening. I feel like there was never a moment where you could just take a breath. There was always something going on. There was always like one more thing that was happening, and I really liked it. Okay, let's move on to my 4.5 stars. The first book I gave 4.5 stars this year was, you can see my pile of books, okay, was The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Denneman. This is Dungeon Crawler Carl book 5, and this book was so good. I love Dungeon Crawler Carl. This was the most recent one that I've read. I haven't made it to book 6 yet, but this one was my favorite so far. I feel like our story is developing so much, and it's just getting to a point where it's just going to be clearly us against them, and I'm very excited to see how the series like goes. I've have no idea where it's gonna go. I feel like that's the beauty of this one, is like everything that happens in the books is a surprise to me and I'm always caught off guard, and I'm just really loving my time with it. Dungeon Crawler Carl is a lit RPG about a guy who has to go into a dungeon after like his world collapses, and anybody that's that was outside when this collapse happens gets offered to go into the dungeons or live in a world where there's nothing on the surface, and so basically die. And so he takes himself and his cat into the dungeon, and we've just been following their adventures of having to live through this like horrific thing. They're basically being exploited to kill each other for entertainment. We're just following this undercurrent of hostility going on, as well as there's usually like a quest or multiple quests going on in each story where they have to figure things out and get some stuff done to like level up and move on to the next level. So it is very entertaining, very fun. I feel like there's deep meaning in it, but it's also really silly, so works well for me. Okay, the next 4.5 star book I had of this year so far is Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. This book I read at the very beginning of the year. I think it was maybe my first book of the year. So my recollection of it is pretty low. Okay, this book is really hard to explain, and I've tried like 3 times to make an explanation, so I'm gonna move on from this. But basically this book follows a trial-based thing where the characters are having to do certain trials to become the emperor, and there's like animal houses, and each animal has a champion for their house that's competing in these trials. And our main character is competing in these trials kind of by accident because there was a murder of the champion for the ravens, and she was kind of the runner-up. So she gets tasked with not only finding out who killed that person, but from the emperor, but then also competing in the trials. Okay, that's kind of how this story is. There's so much more to this book than just that. This book, okay, talk about humor in books. I feel like there is a very common theme with all of my favorite books of the year so far. This book was so funny. Like the writing style in this book, it was so dry and just hilarious. It kind of reminded me of watching like a BBC show or something, like Doctor Who, but like maybe not as nerdy as Doctor Who, but like still very funny and witty. But it was like little things and like sarcasm that I was picking up on that wasn't just like in your face humor. And I loved that. I really enjoyed our main character. I feel like she did get on my nerves by the end of the story, but overall I really liked her character, and like I know that she had a lot that she was dealing with in her head. So yeah, some of her behavior that I found like frustrating, you could forgive because of that. But overall, I really enjoyed this story, and I'm really excited for the sequel. It kind of ended on a cliffhanger. There was some twists, and I'm excited to see where that goes. I will probably have to reread this book because I forget almost everything in it. Not really, but like kind of. Okay, we're getting down to the last few. The next book that I gave 4.5 stars this year, my last one, was Darkness at Sethenon by Raymond E. Feist. This is the 3rd or 4th book in the Rift War cycle by him, and this one is just like an epic fantasy book. Very classic epic fantasy, 80s fantasy, and it follows a whole host of characters. This one specifically, we got some point of views that we haven't had in the past. Very excited for that though. It was great. I loved it. But yeah, it just follows some characters. I feel like the first 3 books kind of follow 2 main characters, and then this one is starting to expand a little bit more and kind of lean into other characters and other generations of characters. We see a lot of that in here. There's like an overall darkness that's trying to take over, and there's a lot of magic in this one. We time travel in this book. There's dragons. It's just very classic fantasy, and I am obsessed with this series right now. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I absolutely love my copies from the Broken Binding also. I was already reading the series when they announced that it was going to be the next trilogy, and I was freaking out. It was the best news ever. So I'm excited that I have those. I have 3 more books to talk about, and that's my 4-star reads of the year so far. So the first 4-star read I have is Windweaver by Julie Johnson. This book follows Raya, and she in the beginning is captured by the King's Men because she is half fae, and she is about to get executed when she gets saved by a general who is like really scary for the King's army. He ends up saving her because he sees that she has a mark on her chest, past. And she doesn't really know anything about this mark, but he seems to know something that she doesn't. And so he ends up taking her instead of letting the king's men kill her. And yeah, we just follow her journey of being captured by another person, basically. And it goes from there. I mean, that's like the bare minimum of this book. I, again, don't want to give too much away. The synopsis doesn't really give much away, so I don't want to give too much. But overall, this book is really great. This book has elemental magic in it, which I really loved. And it is another traveling fantasy, which, again, I think like traveling fantasies are my jam. So this one it surprised me that I enjoyed it because it has that aspect to it. It also reminds me a little bit of ACOTAR in some ways, a little bit, not a lot, but there's like some elements that are similar. So I enjoyed those parts, and yeah, I really liked it. I ended up giving it 4 stars, obviously, and I'm really excited for the sequel. I know the sequel comes out really soon, if it's not already out, and I'm really excited to read it. Okay. Okay, the next 4-star book I have is 6 Deaths of a Saint by Alex E. Harrow. This book is about 30 pages long. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and there's an audiobook for it. Basically, it starts out with a character who is young, and she gets approached by a saint and gets taken by the king to kind of fulfill a prophecy of sorts that allows her to be the greatest warrior. And we just follow her life. Very big on that one as well because it's only 30 pages. Not much I can say about it. It is very good. I really enjoyed it. For it being 30 pages, it is such a great story. Like, it's just like really good storytelling. So I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I know this is a series of books. It's called Into the Shadow. There's other novellas by other authors that maybe deal with like, it looks like maybe like a prophecy or maybe like retellings of sorts. So I highly recommend you check that out. It looks like none of them have as high ratings as 6 Deaths of a Saint, and I don't really know how they're connected, but I do know that there's more if you enjoyed that. The last book we're here to talk about is Shield of Sparrows. I ended up giving this book 4 stars, so it is on my best books of the year so far. I really enjoyed this book. I've talked about it a lot in my wrap-up already, but it is a story that follows a girl who is tasked with marrying a king that she didn't think she was going to have to marry. She thought her sister was going to have to marry him, but the king like comes to her kingdom to like get his bride and chooses her instead. And so she has to take her sister's place, which really makes everyone mad in her family and causes her a lot of stress. And she travels to a different kingdom and has to figure out where she is supposed to be in this kingdom. She is kind of tasked to spy on these people from her father, but she's reluctant to do that. So we kind of follow her as she's navigating those feelings and kind of finding out more information about the kingdom and figuring things out. There are monsters in this kingdom that come and like ravage the land or in this world, and this kingdom specifically has warriors who can fight them, and there's something off with these monsters right now, and so she's noticing these things, but she also doesn't really know anything about the monsters. She's kind of been sheltered from them, and so we're kind of learning through her what's going on. Yeah, that's kind of where the plot takes off. The romance in this book was really cute. I liked it. I did see the plot twist coming. I feel like it's kind of obvious. I don't necessarily think the author was trying to hide certain things from us, but I enjoyed the main character. I think she did grow a lot during the story, and that was really awesome, and I really enjoyed that. And I really like the world. The world is very like desolate and dark and grim, and I feel like I think I said this in my book haul or my wrap up, one of the videos I just posted, but like it does feel similar to The Witcher, and I was picturing like certain areas of the video game from The Witcher, like The Witcher 3, while I was reading this book. So that was really awesome. I think like that was awesome for me because I enjoy that, that stuff. I really enjoyed the story. The second one is out, and I've heard pretty good things about it. I've heard the first half is kind of slow, and then it really picks up in the second half. So I'm really excited. I might be picking that up pretty soon because I really want to read it. All right, so that is all of my top books of the year so far. I really love talking about these books because I enjoyed them so much. They're just so good. I'm so excited, and a lot of them are series. A lot of them, actually all of them but two are series, and I'm very excited to get to the next books in the series. So, but yeah, that is all I have for this video. Please let me know down below what your favorite books of the year are right now, so far in the year. Books of the year, favorite books. Please let me know what your favorite books of the year are so far, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and read more books. Bye!